preppers are crazy. You know, if you watch a show like Doomsday Preppers, that's what you're going to think. Because what that show does is they're inclined to believe that preppers are crazy. So they go out and get the most over the top, the most ridiculous, the craziest people they can find. And they perpetuate the narrative that they already have, which is preppers are crazy. Now, I would ask you a question, since myself and most of the people I know who are preppers do not prep for Armageddon or the apocalypse or any of these things. We prep against the everyday things that happen all the time, not just in our areas, not just in our country, but around the world. And I think it's very foolish not to prep. I think not prepping is what's really crazy in this example, in this discussion. You don't have to look very far. Look at the events in Ferguson, Missouri, how quickly things went from totally normal to total crap storm almost overnight. Gun sales have skyrocketed in Ferguson and the surrounding area for good reason. People want to be able to protect themselves. Well, guess what? If that happens on a large scale, gun stores are going to be sold out like they were at the big gun control push back in 2012, like they were back in 2008. These things happen, and you don't want to wait until you absolutely need something to go out and get it. You want to be prepared. That's what prepping is, to be prepared in case something happens, whether it's natural disaster, whether it's normal economic collapse, whether it's social unrest, whatever it is. These things happen, and you're a fool if you don't get ready for them. I'm not crazy for being ready for them. If they never happen, great. Then I've got a bunch of stuff I don't need, and I rotate it in and out, and I just use it in my normal daily use. But if something does happen, you can't always count on being able to go out and get the things that you're going to need in an emergency situation. Once that arises, you need to plan ahead. And that's what preppers are. One of the stories that came out from the Ferguson story, and I'm not going to get into the specifics of that because unlike so many people that I've seen on YouTube and Facebook, I don't actually have all the facts in front of me, so you're not going to hear me call a cop a murderer or the guy who was killed a thug, because I don't have all the answers right now. So I'm going to wait and let that play out, as I think most of us should. Just be reasonable and rational and see how that comes out versus jumping to a conclusion that we don't really know anything about yet. But that having been said, what we saw was on the initial night of the unrest, when the rioting, the looting started, there was a strip mall, and one owner of a business in that strip mall called up some of his friends that owned other businesses in the strip mall, and they armed themselves, and they stood outside their business. They didn't go looking to shoot somebody, but they stood outside their businesses with their guns and their gear on. And what happened is the rioters were looting a Dollar General, and they started to move down towards these other stores, saw the guys were armed, and they turned around and they left. And they went back to the Dollar General or just away, and they didn't loot these people's stores. That, my friends, is proof positive, by the way, of why it's important to be armed for defense of yourself, defense of your property, defense of your family, because nobody got shot in that instance, but those people were able to defend their property without firing a shot. That's the whole point. The police can't be everywhere at once, and they can't do everything for you, and to expect them to is foolishness. I mean, most cities have about one police officer for every 100 or so people, maybe more than that. They can't defend everybody. It's just not a reasonable expectation. We have to take steps to be prepared to provide for ourselves, whether it's provide for our own protection, provide for food, if food becomes unavailable for some reason, provide for fresh water, in case that becomes unavailable, provide for our other needs. You need to take steps ahead of time, because once the ammo shortage hit, when the run on guns came in 2012, people couldn't buy ammo. If you were one of the people that did not stockpile any ammo, and you call me crazy today for stockpiling ammo, well, you know what? I didn't have to stop shooting through all that. I got to go out, I got to enjoy myself, go to the range. I had more than what I needed because I had taken steps ahead of time. If you wait until you're in a situation where the run has already happened on a certain product or a certain service, you're going to be out of luck. That's why prepping isn't crazy. It's the most logical thing in the world. I hope this video doesn't rile anybody up. That's not my intention. I hope I sound reasonable and intelligent. If I don't, forgive me. That's just me. But prepping doesn't make you crazy. Prepping makes you wise, and it shows that you're planning ahead for whatever's going to happen. The events in Ferguson show us one thing, and that is that our polite society rests on the edge of a knife, and it can change just like that. And you don't want to be in a situation where you're not prepared if that happens. I'm Van Prepper, giving you something to think about. As always, happy shooting, everybody.